Hello there, and welcome to another exciting episode of Secrets to Real Estate Investing by Houseflip Masters. Today, we have another fantastic female real estate investor with us by the name of Sharon Houseworth. So welcome, Sharon.
Hey, Holly, how you doing today?
Great. So excited to have you here to share your experience and wisdom. Really appreciate you and your time. So for our
Thank
listeners
you.
that don't know Sharon, she has been a real estate investor just a couple of years, which is not as many as some of the people I've had on my podcast. So I'm so happy for her to be sharing her newer experience, not someone that's been doing it for 20 years or 50 years or longer than some of you have been alive. So she started out as a property manager before she got into fixing and flipping and being a landlord herself. But I'm going to let her tell us all about that. So Sharon, why don't you take us back to even before you did real estate? What did you do in your life before you jumped into the real estate arena?
Well, I was in a couple different industries. I had my insurance license and worked closely with my mother, who was a life and health agent for like 30 years. So I did that for several years, trained in that business. Kind of wasn't really my thing, although I have always enjoyed working with people and around people and all that. Then I went into the administrative field in a couple different industries. One of my last ones was actually at a construction company. So I got a little construction background. That always kind of had my interest. So to transition into, the property management thing, and then now the fixing and flipping, it all kind of seems like it's tied in together. So yeah.
Yeah, you definitely had some relevant work experience. That's what I'm looking for. So that's
Yes,
kind of cool
yes,
that you
yeah.
got some of that to get your feet wet into that, and so then you didn't feel like you had no idea what you were talking about, like some of us do when we start in this business.
Yes,
Well, tell
yes.
us more even about what you were doing with property management and kind of your path there. And you were telling me about, um, yeah, I'll let you tell it. Go ahead. So what was the property
Okay.
management that you did?
Well, I wasn't actually a licensed property manager. I got kind of thrown into it. My mother, in her later years as she retired from the insurance industry, I've been raised, honestly, since a little child. Grandma always had property. I've just always had, the only way to really make money is secured in real estate. I've had that ingrained in my head since, birth almost. So my family had always had rentals. So Mom and I were very close in her elder years after Dad had passed away, and she had a couple properties that I began managing. And, we shared in that experience. And then she bought a couple more buildings. And in 2009, my uncle, which was my mom's brother, he had passed away, and unbeknownst to us, had several rental properties. The total, once we got everything calculated and everything all pieced together, ended up being about 34 doors. So I was actually managing all those. My brother and I ended up inheriting the ones from my uncle. Mom was still alive, of course, and I was doing all hers as well. But I was doing all the management, all the accounting, all the, vendor scheduling, like everything like that. So I just kind of, went to classes, kind of self-taught, learned from others, like, experienced people like Holly and, different people that I've met along the way, and kind of made my own little business. I wasn't, of course, licensed to do anyone else's besides our own family stuff, but it's been a great life with a great living for me as well. So,
Well, that's
yeah.
awesome. Give us an idea of like how time consuming or not time consuming it was, because I remember when we spoke a few months ago and you were talking about hiring an outside property manager, I was just thinking, why would you do that? And then when you told me how many hours right now it was taking, I was floored, because my own property management for my 10 single family rentals takes maybe an hour a month. It's like really not a lot of focus or energy of mine, but yours, I know now were a lot. But back then, when you took over these 34 units, how much time would you say it consumed of yours?
Well, minimum, it seemed like it was about 30 hours a week. I mean, I was
Wow.
working like a full-time job, sometimes even more, depending if there was vacancies. Now, ours aren't single family properties where you just have one tenant in one place. We've got a couple fourplexes, a duplex, a variety of different things. I hate to say it, but my uncle didn't really take care of the properties as well as we would have hoped. Okay.
That's okay.
So we've had
that's how a lot of landlords are.
A lot of maintenance issues. Yeah, a lot of maintenance issues. And so,
deferred maintenance, right?
Deferred maintenance. Exactly. Yeah. And I'm here to tell you, a lot of our buildings, 99% of our buildings don't even have drywall in them. They have lath and plaster. That'll give you an idea of how old they really are. Yeah. So, you start painting and sanding and all that, then you get into the RRP laws, and there's just so many different things that I've learned along the way that to protect your tenants, that you need to abide by California rules and laws, and the lead and the this and the that and everything. So it's just been, setting up fire extinguishers on every building, getting smoke detectors up to date, carbon monoxide. It's just been a process.
Wow.
So, and I dove into it, full blown, not really knowing anything about this in mass. So I've just learned along the way, but we've just experienced different things. And like I said, I'm the one calling the maintenance guy. I'm the one coordinating all that. I'm collecting all the rents, and I didn't really have as great of a system as I wished I would have. This year, actually, I've made some big changes. January 1, I just turned everything over to a licensed property manager who is actually right down the street from here. She's a friend of mine. And let me tell you, the relief has been amazing.
I can only imagine. Yeah, because
free.
I think another big part of it, properties that require more management are obviously when you have multiple units like that with lots of people in them, sometimes lower income, doesn't always pay their rent on time, they're more challenging. And then also the age of the building. That was a big eye-opener for me when you were talking about that, how much maintenance was constantly being required. Mine are kind of newer single family homes for the most part, although just today, it's funny we're talking about this, I have a home that's 100 years old in Riverside, a little 2-bedroom, 1-bath, have this great couple people living in it, and all of a sudden their power was going out, and my normal contractor that works on my fix and flips went out there, and he was talking about all the Mickey Mouse stuff going on in their electrical panel, and that's why they're having this outage. So yes. So apparently,
that's a nightmare.
We're paying the price now. He's got to get all that up, and the toilet wasn't attached to the floor in the right way. It was just kind of sitting there. There was nothing to bolt it in with. I'm like, well, thank goodness I've got somebody who knows what they're doing to clean it up. And I'm sure I'm not the first person to hear stories like this about the properties.
Exactly. Yep. That's what we've been doing. And, and then you get the little piddly things like, the call at 8 o'clock at night that, so-and-so from apartment B is parked in my parking spot. Well, go down and knock on their door and ask them nicely to move. And why are you calling me? You got to train your tenants as well. And it's just been all a learning experience. I'm grateful for every moment of it.
Yeah.
But now it's time to move on, and I'm doing some different stuff this year. So
well, tell us about, so you evolved from just kind of like managing those, and you kind of got into fix and flip, didn't you?
I did. My mother, back to my mother again, she got very sick in 2013. I took care of her home. She was home bedridden for almost a year. And after she passed away, I thought, I need to do something different. The tenants, the toilets, the trash, it's consuming me. And I thought, I need to, spruce it up, or, I need a new spark of something in my life. Mm-hmm. So I heard one of those commercials on the radio one day, learn how to fix and flip houses. And so I went to the seminar and I signed up for the program, and, it's been amazing. It's been amazing. I've met so many people along the way. I'm in the middle. Oh gosh, I've actually got like 5 deals going. 3 of those are buy and holds. We have a big flip going on Balboa Island in Newport Beach right now. I've had a property in Fontana that was very successful. That was a good one. Just a variety of different things that I've been doing in the last couple of years. So it's just really been life-changing for me.
Cool. Well, I would love if you would take us through kind of beginning to now of one of your deals. And in particular, I know we were talking about your home in Fallbrook that coincidentally happened to be on the same street as one of my flips. I mean, what are the odds
That
of
was,
that? In huge Southern
yeah.
California, out of all the cities and all the streets, we randomly happened to have worked on the same street. And yeah, that's
Yes,
fun. But yeah, tell us
that was
about
really
that
funny.
deal and how you found it, how you bought it, and your need to change and adapt and everything. This is a great story. So tell us the beginning of it. How did you get that deal?
Okay. Okay. So, so how I found it, as I had done, in addition to that big expensive program that I did, I had also gotten involved with a group of ladies, which is where I met you, the Invest Club for Women.
Mm-hmm.
And I did Iris's little 60-day challenge. 3 weeks after I did the challenge, I got my very first deal. That came from building a relationship. We all talk about relationships in this business. It is so true. And I had actually had a realtor call me from one of the phone calls that I had made during this challenge. And he said he had a deal in Fallbrook. And I thought, where the heck is Fallbrook? So I checked it out. The comps were good. It was a gentleman that was getting ready. His property was going to auction in 3 weeks. So I love this story because, you know, I got in this business to help people. And one of the big things that I learned from the big training company was people first, profit second. And, you know, I actually got to do that on my very first deal. And it's just been amazing. So we were able to save this gentleman from going to auction, save him from having a foreclosure on his record. And he got about $40,000 cash in his pocket. So
Awesome.
What a success.
That's great.
Yeah, it was totally good. Totally good. I have goosebumps when I tell that story. So I was like, this is cool. Like, this is what I want to do, you know? So we went in there.
Before you
go
on with that, why don't you explain to our audience that may not understand, if he had gone to auction, is it possible he might not have gotten the extra 40,000 that you provided him?
Oh, yeah, he would have definitely, no, he wouldn't have gotten a penny from the knowledge that I know. Yeah,
right.
He would have
I agree.
gotten a foreclosure on his record.
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate that. Yeah, it's not just about the record. A lot of times we can get them more cash than the house might fetch at auction. So we're providing a great service to people, especially people in the last hours or weeks, and they've been in denial and they don't know what to do or whatever. So yeah, yay for
it
you.
was so sad. Yeah, because he was there. He had just a mat. The wife had left, the kids had left, and he was just in this big giant house by himself with just a mattress on the floor in the living or in the kitchen, or not in the kitchen, I'm sorry, in the bedroom. And it was like, this poor guy was just done, you know, and what a relief that we were able to come in there and take care of that problem for him. So yeah, it was really cool.
Awesome.
So I got this deal under contract. Now I'm panicking. Now what do I do? You know, so I called a few other investors. Yeah. Okay, cool. I got it. Now what do you do? So I called a few other investors, but most of all the investors I knew were up in Orange County. They didn't want to travel that far. You know, Fallbrook is kind of off the beaten path, down outside of Oceanside. And, you know, it was just kind of too far and I hadn't really, you know, met anybody really that really knew me enough to invest in me at that time, because it was my first deal. I was new. So what do? So I went and tapped into some of my investments that I'd had. I cashed out an annuity. So I actually funded the deal. Well, I used hard money. And that relationship was from one of the hard money lenders that I'd met at the 60-day challenge through Iris, and he was willing to take a chance on me for my first deal. So that was really, really cool too. So I funded the gap funding with my own personal money, and got a contractor bid, did all the stuff that I'd been trained, you know, to do. And I thought, well, I want to do this whole deal and just see, you know, how I can do it, make the mistakes with my own money first instead of someone else's, which I'm glad I did, because let me tell you, there was a lot of mistakes.
Well, let me stop you right there, because the way I like to think of it is not win or lose, but win or learn. And we all learn.
True.
I mean, I'm still learning on every deal. I learn something, I take something away. Over 200 houses, I'm still learning. But it's not really mistakes. It's just challenges and opportunities. But and you don't know what you don't know. I mean, you've been through 2 education programs at that point. So you felt comfortable enough to pull the trigger, do something. What was the purchase price of the house? Just so our audience has an idea of
the purchase price was $525,000.
Wow. And what did you think the after repaired value was at that point?
$750,000.
Okay.
I'm trying to, I don't have my numbers, but yeah,
That's okay.
I can't remember if it's 525 or 475. I can't remember right now. But my estimated repairs was around 80,000.
Uh-huh.
We ended up going up to a little under 100, which that was way out of the ballpark. But I was just walking through going, oh, well, that would be cool to change that. Oh, that would be cool to change that. And, you know, when I got that change order, it was way more than I had planned. Plus, we did a lot of extra stuff to the exterior. We did the whole, now when I say we, my son and I, okay, that's who I mean we did the whole drought-free, you know, landscape type thing and, you know, the succulents and all that. But it looked amazing. It looked amazing by the time we got done.
Well, that's a great point. Is so many times when I've started a project, you're making things look better in the house, and then you think, we really can't leave the original brick fireplace. We really need to tile it. Well, now everything else looks so good, then we have to add this. Well, we thought we could leave the driveway, but now the house looks so awesome. The driveway looks like crap. We got to tear it out, you know? So that's just like that snowball effect. Once you start fixing things, it's hard to stop, and you're constantly weighing the pros and cons, cost benefit, return on investment. Oh, is it worth it? Do I do this part? It's so hard to know where to draw the line and stop. So
exactly.
Just another thing you experience when you're actually doing a real deal that they don't talk too much about in education and training until you're in it.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's.
So you got it all fixed up, and you were ready, and then
we got it all fixed up. We started the project in May. We closed escrow in the middle of May. Got it all fixed up. Of course, the timeline went way farther than planned. So that was, you know, a little frustrating, but that's okay. You know, these things happen with contractors.
Yes.
We didn't get it on the market until like end of September, and no offers. Had a few open houses. The house looked amazing. Everybody told me how beautiful it looked. But
and
no
you
offers.
Staged it. I remember. I saw the photos.
Oh, we
it was
staged it. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. It looks great.
Yeah. So it just, you know, and I'm paying the hard money loan fee or the loan payment every month, you know, $5,000 by the time I'm paying the insurance, the pool guy, you know, the power bill, because we've got a pool running, got to keep the pool running. We don't want the pool to get green.
Oh yeah.
And every month I'm paying that. And I was like, oh my gosh, it ate literally that year, it ate me alive. It ate me alive financially. Yeah, but it's okay, because you know what? I was able to turn lemons into lemonade. Because
what did you do? Yeah. How long did you leave it on the market before you thought, I better think of a plan B? I'm not going to sell it for what I thought I could.
Well, by the end of the year, I was stressing out on it. I called our hard money loan guy. He said, no problem. Thank God for this relationship. You know, he said, no problem. We'll extend your loan another 3 months. Okay. So literally, we extended the loan. It was an original 6-month term. We extended it 3 more months. Then we extended another 3 more months. So it was on the market for a year, not one single offer.
And that's for the benefit of our listeners. I've done this on a house. Sadly, I've owned this thing almost 2 years. But they will do extensions. But
yes,
is there a cost to it?
Well, you know, he didn't charge me for the first extension. The second one, he said, I'm going to charge you a point.
Wow.
So it was like $4,700. Yeah, my purchase price must have been $475, because the point was, you know, obviously a percent of that. So it was $4,753. But what was really cool is I didn't even have to pay that up front. I mean, this guy was just so easy to work with. He let me pay it off because I had another thing that I was in the works on. And he said, you know what, you just pay me when you can, kind of thing. If this property sells, you pay me out of that. If you're, you know, whatever you do, I know you're going to pay me, kind of thing. Right. So that was a relief, because I thought, where am I going to come up with another, you know, $5,000?
That's like a whole extra payment. Yeah, I have one of those going right now.
A whole other payment in its own.
I just pulled out my statement last night on this one that I've had, and I refied it. So I'm with my second hard money lender, and I saw 2 hits. I got hit half a point for a 3-month extension 2 times, you know, in the last 12 months. So that's kind of normal. Listeners, you know, I paid half a point for 3 months. Sharon paid nothing for her first 3 months, and then she paid a full point for the next one. So the cost was the same to her and me. It's just how they put it. And I think they often will add it to your loan balance. They know they've got their security, they've got their collateral. They just want to see that you're making efforts to sell it or improve it, doing what you're supposed to do, and then they'll extend you. They won't call the loan due and foreclose on you or anything.
Yeah. So that was nice. So I purchased the property in May of the following year, or actually April. I said, I've got to do something. I've already held this property for, almost a year. So I made the call to a loan gal, another relationship that I had built, around here. And well, she's actually a realtor, but she's a mortgage gal too. And I called her and she was able to get me actually approved for a 30-year mortgage, which was perfect. So we refied that hard money loan out, and now I have a much lower payment. My payment is $33.62, but that includes my tax and insurance.
Nice. And what do you recall the interest rate with the hard money loan and the interest rate with the long-term conventional loan? Okay, so what were your interest
11%,
rates? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 11% with the hard money loan, and I believe I'm at that property at, I want to say 4.5 or 4.7, something like
nice.
that. Yeah, I don't remember exactly. Yeah, so a huge savings. Yeah, huge savings.
Yeah, and so for listeners, even though that sounds higher than what you might pay on a personal residence, when it's a rental property, you're going to pay a higher interest rate, but that's still a great rate. I mean, that's almost a third, less than half, and closer to a third of what Sharon's original interest rate and payments, were.
Yeah.
So. And you're probably amortizing now too, right? Are you amortizing the loan over 30 years?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And the hard money loan is interest only. So now you're paying down principal. So cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
So now that you've got this new loan, what was the next plan? What was the next step you took?
Well, I thought I got to get a tenant in there. I've just got to, and I've got experience with that. So, I tapped into my experience. I've got all my forms. I know how to run credit reports. I've got all that because I've built my system on that I've been doing for years already on the property management end. So I first want to, utilize any free ad services that I have. So I popped an ad on Craigslist, and I mean, within hours I had a hit. I advertised it for $4,000 a month, which I thought was a little higher than I should have gotten down there, but I thought I'm going to start high. And if I have to negotiate down, then that's, I can do that.
Yeah.
It's hard to negotiate up, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And ironically enough, I had a realtor contact me who had just sold his little house in Carlsbad. He wanted to move closer to Temecula, and his office was in Escondido. So this was like perfect, right in the middle for all their, family needs, to be close to the grandkids, to be close to his office, and to be out in the country like they wanted to be. So this just fit their need perfect. It fit me perfect. They were ready to move in. It's like within a couple days after my loan closed. I mean, it just couldn't have been more perfect timing.
Sweet.
So they're currently still in there. They moved in, I believe it was I think it was June 19th. Yeah, June 19th. They moved in.
Well, and I got to point out too that the reason you probably got a good hit, I assume you put photos on Craigslist, right?
Oh, yes.
And the home was gorgeous. Normally, investors do not renovate homes to the same spec level for a rental as they do a flip. So you had, technically you'd over improved it. I mean, you were going to flip it. I did the same thing with the house once in Riverside. I was going to flip it, and then at the last minute, I'm like, let's hold on to it. We're in a rising, appreciating market, so it was too nice. And they haven't taken care of my high-end carpet the way I wish it was, but but that worked out in your favor. You got it leased very quickly because it was beautiful. You probably have pictures of it staged. I mean, it was so nice. You wouldn't want to rent that and pay a little bit more to have a super luxurious house.
Well, when they came to look at it, it was still staged. So that was really nice. They were like, oh my gosh, like this is amazing, Yeah. So I kept the staging in there during the rental process. So
very smart. Yeah. Okay, so then you had those tenants, but then I remember the next part of the story. 3 weeks after they moved in, right? Dun dun dun. What happened next?
Oh my gosh. Oh, well, we talked about maintenance issue on the apartments. Well, there's maintenance issues on a house as well. My tenants woke up. This is 3 weeks after they'd moved in.
Yeah.
And they said, oh my God, the whole downstairs has like 2 inches of water in it. And I was like, are you kidding me? They said, we don't know what's going on. It looks like it's coming from under the kitchen sink. Of course, we've got all hardwood on throughout, okay, except the bedrooms. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So sure enough, you know, of course it's on a Saturday. It's always, plumbing problems always happen on a weekend. So you have to call, you know, pay the emergency rates, right?
Oh, yes.
So we got a plumber out there, and just so happens that this was the day of their daughter's wedding as well. Thank God the wedding wasn't going to be at the house, right?
Oh, and thank goodness that
like,
the wedding dress wasn't sitting on the floor somewhere. That would be a disaster.
Exactly. Yeah, like it can always be worse. I always look at the, saying, I mean, I know this is a challenge or an issue, but it can always be worse, you know? So I thought, oh, thank God the wedding's not at the house. So, but you know, they've got to get ready. They have to go turn off the water. Like you can't shower with the water, you know, otherwise it's spewing everywhere.
Oh,
so we got the plumber out there. He realized it was a foundation, like slab leak in the kitchen, of course. And, yeah, they literally were displaced from the home for almost 2 months. They would come back and forth. They were, you know, thank goodness, always important to have your tenants have renter's insurance, people. Yes, always require that.
So what happened?
Because they're renters.
Because they had renter's insurance, what benefit did they and you get from that?
Well, they were immediately put up in a hotel. I don't even know exactly. I mean, he's a realtor, so he's got some really good insurance. But I know that all their needs were taken care of. I believe they gave them, you know, because they weren't able to cook and do their normal, you know, preparation of meals. I believe there was some kind of benefit on there as well.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was really good. And my insurance was amazing. I had actually had a builder's risk policy on the property during the rehab, because we have to have special insurance, right, Holly, during our projects to protect, you know, the property from vandalism or whatever.
Right.
So I had just converted that with the same company into a regular, you know, landlord policy at that time. So I had excellent coverage. The only thing really I had to pay out on that whole thing was like a $2,500 deductible. And it was over almost a $50,000 job because they had to replace cabinets. Yeah.
Wow.
They had to replace cabinets. The whole downstairs was all hardwood. Now, this is a 3,700 square foot property here.
Oh,
so there's a lot of flooring. And because it only affected like the kitchen and the dining room area, that wood they didn't make anymore because it was an older wood, but we'd kept it because it was in excellent shape.
Right.
They could not match that wood. So my insurance company authorized to re-floor the whole downstairs.
Wow.
So that was really cool. So I have all brand new flooring on the downstairs now. And, yeah, you know, they had to do cabinets, and we had, you know, water remediation and emergency service and, you know, dry out machines and everything that goes with a water issue.
Oh my gosh, what a nightmare. But what about your loss of rents? Did your insurance company cover that?
I did. I got that covered. I got my loss of rents covered. I believe I did have to pay the plumbing, it's just like if you get in an accident, if your tire pops and you get in an accident because of that, they'll pay for the damage caused by the accident, but they won't pay for, you know, like what actually caused the accident. Like they're not going to pay for your tire and that kind of stuff. So they didn't actually pay for the slab leak replumbing part, because of course we brought everything up through the walls now. We don't want anything in concrete if we don't have to have it. So they didn't pay for the reroute. Okay. I think that was maybe $1,700 or something. But they paid for all the damage that was incurred from that loss. So yeah, it was. I'm just blessed that my tenants stayed. Huh?
Very important lesson for the listeners: get your insurance in place and get the right insurance. Because you're fine that you had a tenant in there and had tenant insurance, but if you had a water leak and a big problem, and you didn't buy vacant house insurance. So like some people think, oh, I'm just going to buy a landlord policy while I'm fixing it because it's so much cheaper. Well, I've heard that they're not going to cover you if they figure out no one was really leasing it and no one was living in it. And I think you only have 30 days in between tenants to get someone back in there. If you have a landlord policy, then you have to switch to vacant house policy, or they won't cover you. So, get a good insurance person and know what you're doing. Ask the questions, and it's
Yes.
not worth trying to cheat your way around it, because you're really just cheating yourself. Cheating yourself
That
out
is
of
so
anything.
true, Holly.
Yeah.
That is so true, because we had signed the lease, but they weren't going to move in until, like a couple weeks later.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody drove by my house, an insurance adjuster or an insurance whatever. They drove just to, check out the property and all that. In between the time that I had switched it from the vacant dwelling property to a landlord policy, they came by there. They sent me a letter and said, well, we did a drive-by and it looks like the property is vacant. So, and I said, oh, hold on, I have a signed lease. They're going to move in on such and such a date. So I had to actually show them that verification that I did have a tenant moving in. So you are absolutely correct on that.
Yeah, and I have insurance inspectors drive by all my rental properties and I guess they have to justify their jobs, but they'll say like, oh, this tenant had too much trash on the side yard, or their brush is overgrown. They have to find something wrong, and then I have to do all these little remediations every year and tell the tenants to, comply with whatever the company's wanting. So yeah, that's another thing is you'll find. And also, like I just bought a house with a pool in Riverside this last week, and we needed to replaster the pool, and my insurance person said you have to have the pool filled on this particular policy that you want. So we're going to bind it, but you better get that thing up and running. And we did. Within a few days, we had it plastered and then filled, and they're just doing all the chemicals today. But if you don't follow the rules of insurance companies, you don't get the benefit. So be very aware and very careful of that.
Yep. Don't want to mess with that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, and that's the other thing is when you have pools, you usually have different policies. Like certain companies won't take you with the pool. So.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Well, so yeah, that property does have a pool, but I'd never. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, and you disclose that, and that most insurance companies will look on Google Earth and say, "Oh, I see you have a pool. I see you have a 2-car garage. I see there's a chimney." Like they can tell so much now from satellite photos. Like sometimes they know more than I do about the house. Like, okay, thanks. But so then what happens? So you got it all fixed. Your tenants are back in. They're all happy. So I think there's more to the story. What's coming up next with it?
Well, they we're still under contract. We signed a year lease, so technically July. Even though they were displaced for a couple months, I think they want to go from the original date of the lease.
Yeah.
Because, and they've called me several times in the last couple months. Apparently, the lady next door runs an Airbnb. And they're not really happy about that because, they just don't like the different people coming in and out. They're always out at their pool, and their pool echoes from over by the master bedroom. And so they've expressed their, that they're not happy. Their dissatisfaction. Yes.
Okay.
On numerous occasions. And, I'm fine with that because we always have to have a different plan for our properties depending on what's going on.
Right.
So I've actually just been recently contacted by a treatment center that is looking for either a residential housing property or a detox facility. And Fallbrook is the perfect place for that right now because there's, for instance, no HOA in that particular community. There's plenty of people in the neighborhood that have Airbnbs. The Chamber of Commerce is perfectly fine with it as long as it's a legitimate licensed business and there's nothing illegal going on, of course. Mm-hmm. And so I have an opportunity to get even higher rent than $4,000 a month because they're actually running a business out of there and they would be paying a premium rent. So so we're in negotiations on that. And I'm excited to move into a different realm of investing. And there's always opportunity and new things around the corner. So, as distraught as I was about that property not selling. Oh, and then also, forgot this part. They are also turning this particular part of Fallbrook. There's been some big changes in the community down there because the golf course that my property sits on was it was going to pot. The guy was in bankruptcy and he wasn't taking care of things. He shut down the clubhouse, he shut down the restaurant, all that, and everything was just dying, and it was just really hideous down there. Well, some new owners have come in. They've taken over. They are turning the one particular area. They're already taking down all the trees. They're going to be growing vineyards there. They're turning the clubhouse. They're expanding, growing. They're going to have a wine tasting room. They're going to have a 5-star restaurant. They're going to have a wedding and banquet venue. And guess what that means? That means my property value just went up. So
sweet.
How cool is that?
Well, no, I'm sad that I sold my house on Lakemont.
I know, right?
No, I'm not sad. I'm glad. But
so I thought, you know what? Yeah, I'm not, as sad as I was when it wasn't selling. Now I know why, because there was obviously a different plan. So, yep.
That's really awesome. Yeah. So the moral of the story is probably don't panic if your first plan isn't working. You did a refinance, you got a long-term tenant in, you're going to get a higher paying tenant in with a treatment center. You've still probably got the Airbnb potential if you wanted to go that route. And I mean, I'm guessing that the rents would be, more like 10 grand a month or higher if you were, doing that with that huge of a house with a pool and a golf course. Sounds nice. In fact, maybe
that's funny too. That's funny too, because actually, so every time my tenants call me and complain, I call the lady next door because she and I are friends. Yeah. Okay. Like, I rehabbed that house for a few months and we got to know each other. So her deal is she goes, when somebody's staying at her house, she goes to the lady next door. She's right there. She's right there in the neighborhood. There's no parties going on or she'd be over there yelling at them. She has already told me, hey, don't panic. When if your people move out, she goes, you need to let me Airbnb your house and I'll take care of everything down here for you and, give you some good money. So I've got that as a backup also. So there's always opportunity. There's always. I
love it. Yeah. And the reason you have that opportunity is because you are friendly and outgoing and like to network and help people. So then people like this neighbor are interested to talk to you. She likes you. She wants to help you. So lesson to everyone that the more friendly you are and the more people that you're interested in and see how you can help them, you get help yourself. It's just how the universe works. Right. So,
That's right.
That's
people do business with those that they know, like, and trust, right?
Exactly, yeah. Well, we need to be winding down here, but in conclusion, what advice would you give to someone new starting out that is, it's scary when you're starting out. It's a huge risk, and it wasn't that long ago for you, a couple of years ago for you. So what advice do you have for new people?
You know what? Just keep moving forward every day. Just be committed to this business. And if you can't do it full time, just always have that as your end goal, is to get out of your W-2 job and get into this investing, because there's so much money to be made and so many people to learn from. This is the only industry ever in my life that I've been in where everybody wants to help each other. People aren't climbing over each other to get to the top. It's not like that. Investing is a team sport, and it's an awesome industry to be in, and just don't give up. I have on my vision board right here, it says, don't you dare give up. And, that's one of my little things. Don't you dare give up. And, I get frustrated as well, when we don't get a deal or, whatever. But things happen, and that just means that there's a better opportunity around the corner. So
I love it. Well, thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing your lemons into lemonade story and really demonstrating how there are usually multiple paths available. And if you feel like you're stuck, then just ask those around you. Go to your local RIA club, ask a mentor, ask someone, ask the neighbor, the neighbor who's doing Airbnb. Just ask people for ideas, for help, and it will come to you. So, well, thank you, Sharon. For people that want to reach out to you or talk to you or ask you more questions, how can they do that? What's the best way?
Oh, I would love it. Phone call or text anytime. I'm 24/7.
What's your phone number? Oh, sorry, I talked over you.
406 461 3470, or you can email me at Sharon_Houseworth, just like your house is worth a lot of money, at hhpropertysolutions.com. And I'm on Facebook with that HH Property Solutions, and then also my website, same address.
Fantastic. And I didn't really mention this, but you are in Orange County, California, San Clemente. So if you guys have, Sharon is probably a buyer too. So if you're a wholesaler and you want to have a deal, then Sharon's happy to talk to you about that. And she's very well networked. If it's not something she wants, she might be able to help you find someone that does want it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Sharon. And to my listening audience, hopefully this inspired you and showed you what's possible and how not to panic, but keep moving forward even when things get challenging, and get out there and make some great things happen.
That's right. Thank you so much, Holly. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Thanks.
Hey there, thanks for watching the video. Make sure you like it and click subscribe to get notified of more videos. And you can go to hardhatholly.com for a free download on secrets to finding great deals.